Hi, Matt.
Hello.
Good morning, everybody. All right, so now we're recording. Yes, it does not feel like December to me. Bouncing between 30 degrees and 70 degrees. Playing havoc with my sinuses, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And my back, for that matter. All righty, so today we're going to basically be talking just about the holidays and all the neat new toys we got to choose from, to ask for or to give, or to buy for ourselves, what can I say? Sometimes we just got to give ourselves Christmas gifts. So, all righty. So, of course, we have our agenda. Holiday gift ideas is our big thing. We'll do a little Q&A. Oh, that's interesting. So our steering committee, Matt Canizio. Say hi, Matt.
Hello, everybody.
David Day. I don't think I can see him log in. So,
Oh.
David. Okay, that is just. Hang on, just. I'm going to have to quit my keynote and launch it back up because it's acting real weird. So let's try this one more time. Nope, it's
Weird.
Do this a slightly different way then. So will there's a way. Okay. Try this again. So, all right. So, plan for today is talk about holiday gift ideas. At the end, we'll have a Q&A if anybody has some questions not related to gift giving. All right. So, Matt Blair said hi to David. Is probably enjoying the beach. Nice spring-like weather. Terry, I know Terry's not going to be here as often, but he's still, I think, going to try to log in periodically. So we'll say hi to Terry when he comes. Marguerite, our indispensable woman of all trades. Ed Sheeran, good morning, Ed. Did Ed pop in? I thought I saw him. Nope, I was mistaken.
Yeah, I didn't see him.
Jeanne Sparks, good morning and happy birthday, Jeanne. I'm George Wagner. I'm your president at the moment until somebody else decides they want to do a coup. Please.
Line forms at the left, huh?
Yeah, and nobody's in it, damn it.
Nope.
Good morning, Bob.
Morning. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas.
These are the people that are responsible for what we have in our meeting. So if you have some ideas, have suggestions, compliments, complaints, please let one of us know and we'll address it to the best of our abilities. All right, so now let's get to the fun stuff. Gift ideas. Of course, we always have the Apple branded stuff, some great products, but also there's a lot of third-party accessories and such that people can also choose from, cases and stands and a whole slew of things. So what we're going to do is go through some of the ideas that people may have for great gifts. As an example, my oldest daughter is going to be very pleased to get her Bluetooth AirPods. Of course, that is for my own peace of mind. Now I don't have to untake headphones anymore. I've never seen somebody have to hold their phone so close just because the headphones are so short now because they're all not. Oh, did that David Day I just see pop in? No, I saw David pop in.
Yes, it is.
Here he is.
Yes, it is. David Day.
Hey, I'm sorry I'm late. I apologize.
We just figured you were sunbathing.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Let's see
Trying
you.
to, trying to stay well.
How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. I was just kind of joking. I've been back on the bike now, put another 100 miles on it. So I'm good to go.
So, did your significant other get some life insurance out on you because you're back on the bike?
No, but she's become a very religious person.
I propose that we put a multi-million-dollar life policy on him.
Oh man. Yeah, well, it wouldn't do you any good because when the next one is it. I mean, I'm just gonna give up. I'm tired of going to doctor's offices.
We'll just do that missing man thing for the club, you know.
Yeah, yeah, right. As a gesture of love.
Basically, we were talking about gift ideas. I was telling them I got my daughter with new AirPod Pro.
She loves him, right?
Well, she has. I haven't given them to her yet. For Christmas.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I did. It's really my own peace of mind. I no longer will have to untangle her headphones because she's constantly having her phone like right here. But the headphones are so knotted up; they're only like 3 inches long. You know.
Yeah.
Luckily, I don't mind untangling things, but she hates it.
What is this on the screen? There's one next to the left of the tripod. Is that a charger stand?
Yeah. I didn't want to focus entirely on Apple only products. There's a lot of third party. Yeah, that's a. And there's a bunch of really cool things. If you've got watch and a phone, it's a multiple device charging stand where you hang the watch on there, put the phone on there, and it charges them all. Pretty cool. So
I have one, and I think it's great. It just saves so much time, and it puts gets rid of some cords.
Yeah. The whole magnetic lock, the MagSafe on the phones, really opens the door for a lot of neat things because it's a very solid connection. Makes sure that it is in the proper place for charging. You don't have to worry about putting it on those charging pads and having it not charged because it wasn't quite in the right spot. So you've got that snap-in, function of that. You've got mounting is now magnetic, so you don't have to have these special, gripping side things that have to be adjustable for the different size phones. It doesn't matter. It's on the back. Snaps on with the magnet. Boom, it's on. So it really opens up the door for a lot of really cool things.
I have one that I use in my car that uses that, and it clips onto the air conditioner vent, but it's got the MagSafe on it, and it's sturdy, it's stout, it go over bumps and it doesn't fall off. It's so convenient. Keeps the thing charged while I'm using the maps, navigation.
And that's the really neat thing about that with the fewer wires. I've got one. Doesn't have the MagSafe because my phone doesn't have that yet. But it has the mount itself is a charger.
Oh, that's cool.
The neck that it has the wiring in it, so it's plugged into the cigarette lighter. So you just have that one stem that you can mount it on, and it's flexible. And then that charger has the charging information, so you just put it in there, and boom, it's charging. So,
Is
Say,
that an
George-
Apple? Is that an Apple charger? Because I'm looking on Amazon and I don't see it.
which one? The one on the screen here?
Yeah, to the left of the tripod.
No, these are all third-party things. The first
Oh.
screen here, these I did, all Apple stuff, and then I wanted to bring in some, third-party accessories and such that were basically the only one. This one, of course, is Apple's here, but these other ones are third-party.
Say, George, I've got I'm thinking about, and I'm not thinking about, I want to buy my wife a new computer, and I'm looking at the iMac 24-inch. The one that's got the 512 gigabyte storage and 8 gigabyte memory, is that enough for a normal person? She's not a geek. She just wants to go on ancestry.com and to run stuff. Is that going to be enough?
Well, here's the question. First of all, with the new chip, RAM is not as important as it used to be.
Okay.
Okay. The everything I've read, the 8 gig versus the 16 gig of RAM performance was virtually identical, and even the differences in the high, functionality wasn't significant.
Okay.
Don't it used to be, hey, you got more RAM, so it doesn't rely on the hard drive. Well, the hard drives are flash drives now, and this new design, everything is so close that the communication between them is lightning fast. So that's not an issue. What is an issue is storage. Does she have a computer now?
Yes, she does.
How much is she using on that?
I'm sorry, you cut out there. What was that question?
On that computer, how much is being used right now? Storage.
It's hard. I don't know that exactly. I can go in there and look, but I don't know offhand.
Because if she's using 350 now, then that 512 might run out pretty quick. If she's using 30 now, then the 512 is probably fine. Okay. Does she do a lot of photographs and videos?
Yes, on the photographs. No, on the videos.
Is she currently synchronizing the photographs to the computer?
Yes.
Okay, so then I would look to see how much space she's using, and if she's using less than 100, then the 500 is probably fine. But if she's getting up there, the newer phones are higher megapixel pictures, so you got to take up more space, and pretty soon that 512 could shrink pretty quickly. And what is very, very important to note is you cannot change the internal storage after you've purchased it.
Can you add on through a USB connection or something like that? You can.
Yeah, and that's fine, but keep in mind that will never be as fast as the internal storage.
Right. Gotcha.
So, that's fine for a lot of things, but just know that if you want to try to keep it all inside, you cannot change that once you purchase it. It's on the system on a chip, so you can't say, oh, pop it out, pop it. No, you can't do that.
Okay, so but the memory, the unified memory, the 8 gigabyte, that'll be fine. But analyze how much she's using on the hard drive or the flash drive storage.
And yeah, if she's under 100, 5 is fine. If she's between 100 and 200, then it depends on what she's going to be doing. If she's more than 200, I would say maybe take it up to the next level, just to give you that room to grow.
Okay.
Bob, I have that computer, Bob.
Yeah.
I bought this a couple months ago. That's the exact configuration that I have.
Right.
And I'm not a heavy user in terms of photography. My previous computer had 1 terabyte, and I only have about 300 or 400 photos and stuff like that. And it still always showed that it had 1 terabyte of storage left.
Huh.
So I figured that the 512 was fine. And I did put for my backup for my time machine, I did get a solid state SSD. And there's a lot of YouTube people who do all videos, obviously, YouTube's all videos. And they have no trouble using external SSDs. And the price of those has dropped tremendously. And the speed is good enough for them to do all the video editing and everything very easily.
Right.
There's no way that your wife would ever tap this thing out. Same thing with me. There's no way.
Outstanding. That's good. Thank you both.
If you want to come over and see one live.
Yeah, I need to drink your scotch anyway. So
Yeah, well, you can drink as much as you can find in the house. You can drink it
I was
all.
gonna say, you're gonna have a hard time doing that at his house. Ken, I'd like to say something to Ken Gassman. Ken, The unit I have, the multi-device charger, I got from Apple before they discontinued it. On their current website, they're selling Belkin devices to do the same thing.
Yeah.
So it's a Belkin boost and charge 3-in-1 wireless charger. You know, a pricey $149. So you may be able to find something on Amazon. And if Apple thinks Belkin's good, I typically trust what they have on as an
Yeah.
accessory. It's going to work just fine.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
The charger unit shown there on the screen next to the tripod is currently on Amazon for $15.95. Now, it doesn't do anything else other than the iPhone, but that's a good enough price to get my attention.
I was going to say, yeah. Thank you, George.
Can I ask a question about that thing? Where does it get its power from, and what happens to these USB changes now that Apple's using the USB 3s for charging devices? I'm starting to have a lot of wires because different devices are now using different USB connectors. So how does this thing fit into that scope of things?
My guess is this is a key charger, so it's not going to have the port issue. It's going to have a cord coming out the back of it plugging into the wall, but it should just be set and it basically gets the wireless charge.
That's what it's showing. There's one white cord coming out of the back that goes to the wall, and that's it. And the phone will sit horizontally or vertically.
Marguerite, when I got the new computer, I ran into that situation, you know, that the ports were different than I was used to on my 10-year-old iMac. And very inexpensively, you can buy little dongles, you know, that have the old connection, the old USB on one side and the Type C on the other. They're like $5 a piece, 2 for $10 or 2 for $9.
You can also pick
So I was going to say, I keep a bunch of them around. And the other thing that they're very handy for, I bought an iPad Pro. That was $300 off. It's last year's. And I could take any of my old USB drives and put it into one of these dongle adapters and plug it into my iPad. It works just fine. I tried the Files app on it and everything. So it's a very inexpensive thing. You don't need, you don't need to buy a unit with the wires, with the connectors different at one end to the other. You could just buy a little thing that's only this big.
Thank you, Matt.
I bought this little Syntec thing, and I think it was $7 on Amazon, and it'll hook up the USB-C to the old format USB.
Yeah.
And it's dirt cheap. There are 2 of them in a box.
Right.
And I would suggest you buy a couple of those on Amazon, and that'll hook you up with anything you want to.
now. One thing is Matt mentioned the SSD external drives, which are much faster. What you don't want to do is have one of those hooked up to the old USB, because that
Yeah, you don't get the throughput.
Right. To make sure that when you have an external drive, that it has the native USB-C connection on it, so you get the full that speed.
They say that those little things will slow you down, but I haven't noticed it myself. So you're used to having it slower. So what the heck, right? For $7, who cares?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Can I ask a question? What is the brand for the holder, the charging that's on the screen? The little stand charger.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Chinese. I hate to say it that way, but
Of course.
nice. Yeah, there's some words that I couldn't pronounce. It's like Yaji or something, or I don't know. But yeah, it's nothing you ever heard of.
Okay, thank you.
Ken, maybe you can post a link to what you're looking at in the chat so that everybody can see what you're viewing on your screen.
Okay.
That'll teach you.
Yeah, whether you
Yeah.
want it or not.
Now what?
Let me find the an article that had some top top gift ideas. I'll put that in the chat.
Good time. Give 'em my love.
All right, have fun. Your voice is terrible. You ask them.
Ken, are you looking for, or George?
Ken's out of it. He's short circuited.
What did you have for breakfast, Ken? I want some of that.
I'm sitting here trying to figure out how to do a link or, I mean, I don't know. I'm looking at it. Hey, wait a minute. Hey, wait a minute. Can y'all see it now?
No,
You blurred it.
totally blurred out.
I would post a link if I knew how to. How about that?
We'll just copy the link from your browser and put it in the chat.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
It's that easy.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kevin.
Wait a minute. Where'd y'all go?
Oh,
I
boy.
posted that link, Ken. So I think that's the one you're looking at. I posted it in chats.
Well, the other problem is I'm looking at two different computers. I just clicked the link on, copied the link on my big computer, but now I don't know how to get it over to the little computer. So thank you.
If they're both tied into your Apple ID, then you should have the continuity clipboard, universal clipboard. You copy from one to the other.
Went to the other, yeah.
Yeah.
Just do a copy and then you'll see a paste, you know.
George, are you taking ideas for other gifts?
Well, oh yeah, that's the whole point of this episode. Everybody.
I have enjoyed, as I've entered my years of doctor visits, I have enjoyed a lot of lifestyle devices. You know, I got the Apple Watch and I'm monitoring a number of things. But I bought a scale, a bathroom scale, from a British company called Withings, Withings. And what it does is it records your weight and communicates it and sends it to an app on the phone. Doctor, the last time I was in to see this one doctor, she was punishing me because I didn't do something she wanted me to do. So she said, you have to weigh every day for 30 days, which is depressing in and of itself. But I did do it. I got this scale and it is magnificent. I mean, you get on it, it takes the reading, it shoots it over your phone, you walk away happy or unhappy. And it does a good job. It builds a little calendar, shows you graphs of your trends of your weight and so on. Fine piece of equipment. You can use it for multiple people in the household. It has a way to discriminate between who sends, who's on the scale. And just as an extra added attraction, they have a very low voltage signal in the scale that once you stand on it, it goes up through one leg, through your system, and comes down the other leg. They use that to measure the loss in the signal strength as an indicator of body moisture. So if you've got a lot of moisture weight, it changes that value and they calculate your BMI. So lots of good stuff. And when you get to be this age, this is what you look forward to, is figuring out why your body's doing what it's doing. So
you look forward
the more info, the better.
You look forward to a slow electrocution? Is that what you're telling me?
That's right. Helps you go down easy.
Yeah. Whatever you do, just don't take a bath while doing that.
Right.
Yeah. The only interactive scale I had was the one the cockroach ran out of. I threw it away immediately.
Oh my gosh.
And my first and only encounter with a cockroach was not pleasant. Yeah, there's a lot of really cool accessories. There's some real nice articles online for gift ideas. Gadget has like 23 top items, so you can find some really cool stuff. A lot of the sites that we do, Mac Rumors has there. All the sites that you go to get your information will generally put together a nice holiday list of things. iLounge has always been a great place for finding reviews of products. You can find some good stuff there.
Hmm.
A lot of resources. But yeah, if you're looking for something, there's a whole bunch of them.
Yeah.
Haven't found the scale that we're about.
Yeah. George, because I got the new iPad,
Yeah.
I have to sort of reinvent the wheel. I had to get another case, of course. I'm getting a carry case. I've had them forever, and everybody used to look at it and ask me what it was. You put it over your shoulder, it'll hold your iPad, your charger, your phone, stuff like that. So those are highly recommended accessories. Now, one accessory I had a trouble with, and that's the screen protectors. I have a case, a magnetic case. It's very nice and all that, but at this point, the screen doesn't have a protector on it. And I didn't have too much of a problem putting it on my smaller iPads to keep them from getting scratched. But the larger the screen, the more difficult it is to get a screen protector that doesn't cause bubbles to form when you try to press it on. So, I would generally recommend that you get screen protectors, but when something starts getting like 12.9 inches or something, you can't really get the thing on without these things coming up. So I wouldn't recommend those for larger screens. But other than that, I've always had the screen protectors too, and it's much easier to keep your screen clean besides, you don't scratch it. And no matter what they say, the screen protectors do get scratched. So
Well, I bailed out on my 11-inch. I tried to do what you're doing on the 11-inch iPad, and
yeah,
I couldn't get the bubbles out. So
no, you never can.
I quit using the screen protectors, and I've had no problems. I haven't had a case on my phone that I've had now for 2 years, and it's taken a lot of abuse. Apple has done a remarkable job with the
Yes.
glass, with Corning and all the Gorilla Glass enhancements. So I'm not too worried about the screen
No,
scratching. And yours is beautiful, Matt. Beautiful screen on your new one.
yeah, it's good. Now, the other thing I'm doing is all the things I'm buying now, I'm getting in the color white instead of dark blue or black or stuff like that, so that I can see the stuff easier. Like my case is white, and I just replaced my blue iPhone case with a white one. And it makes a big difference.
Sure.
It just happens that my end table is black, so I'd be putting all the stuff down there within reach while I was watching TV. And I couldn't see it I'd have the light off so I could watch the TV. So that's another thing. I've switched from the darker colors to the lighter colors for all the accessories.
Now, one thing I will recommend is whenever you buy an accessory that is like a charging unit, make sure that it is not hardwired cord in the power adapter. Either USB or USB-C connection is best, because that way down the road, as connectors tend to change, you can always just get a new cord to plug into it.
George, we lost your image on the screen. You got a different.
Oh yeah, I was looking up some.
Have you all talked about the AirTag? Did I miss that?
No, we did not talk about the AirTag yet.
It's I've got one secreted on my bike. I've got it attached to my keys, and the thing is great. I mean, it takes sometimes, if I'm out far away from everybody else, it takes a while for it to locate another iPhone. But I'm very happy with it. I got them when I could get four of them for $80 on Amazon, and bought the heck out of it. So that's a good gift. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody loses stuff.
Yeah, David, I got 4 of them as well, and I use them all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. It was one thing I planned to get. I just didn't get around to it yet because I'm always misplacing my wallet. And when that happens, my blood pressure goes up about 100 points instantly as I run around the house trying to figure out, where it is. But I haven't gotten around to it, and I should. That's one thing I would treat myself to. But Apple's being sued by a couple women because they're being tracked by boyfriends or ex-husbands and things like that. And they claim
Okay.
that Apple hasn't done enough to stop stuff like that.
They
Well,
won't.
It's like, it's like, if somebody hits somebody over the head with a hammer, do you blame the hammer?
Hmm.
You know,
Oh, I'm sure they're not going to win, but it's just a case where it's one of those things.
yeah.
I have one and I use it in my luggage when I travel, and it's more fun tracking it, just know where it is.
Hmm.
Especially
Quite
since
exciting. And you'd be surprised how many people sit in the airports and on the planes checking their luggage because they've all got them too.
Yeah.
especially luggage gets a better trip than you.
Well, every now and then it gets a little, because it says, oh my gosh, it's still back in the airport. And I'm like, oh crap. But eventually it gets to where it's supposed to be. But if it does go off, at least you know where it's traveling to.
Yeah.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, there have been times I've been jealous of my luggage. Yeah, but my luggage was.
I've got another suggestion for Marguerite. Do you have a new computer, Marguerite, the 24-inch?
I'm sorry, say that again, dear.
Do you have a new 24-inch iMac?
I have a 27-inch.
Hmm.
Okay. I got an image from, just a minute. This attaches to the bottom of my computer. It's got a charger on the far left side, 2 USBs, and an SD card reader from Anchor. I got it on Amazon, and I can charge my phone while sitting at the computer. I can plug in the USB and an SD card, and it's wonderful. You have to go to the back of the computer all the time to hook up stuff.
Well, that's the problem. I only see port is behind the computer. It's hard to get to it. But I did also buy a converter plug. So I have that now. I don't have to climb behind the machine every time.
Well, Anchor also makes one for the older computers too. I'd set
Yes.
24-inch, so I got the new one for the 24, but they also make a similar device for the older Macs too, which I thought was very nice.
Richard, I've
Thank
had
you.
those. Yeah, they're good. They clip on, sort of. And now with the 24 inches, coming in different colors, you can find those in different colors to match your your colors.
Correct.
The other one was always silver gray,
Now, when you're dealing with the laptops, there's a couple companies that make that kind of clip on the side, but the problem is they use both of your USB-C ports to do that, and I've always found that to be really kind of. I much ones that have a little bit of a cord. You plug it in one, you still have one open, and then you can use the hub to do it. You have it. It's not as elegant looking, but generally, I don't care.
Yeah, very, very functional.
Yeah.
Nothing by my computer is elegant looking.
What's
But
it?
Marguerite, you are.
Flattery will get you there.
That's what I was hoping.
He's smooth. I'll give him that.
Hey, a quick comment about air tags again. When I was in Europe recently, one of the airlines says you can't use air tags because it'll interfere with our navigational equipment. Well, I don't think you can cut them off. So I just ignored it and had them with me, and they didn't click me or anything like that. But just be aware that in the US, apparently they're fine. Overseas, it depends on the airline.
Yeah.
Keep in mind two things. One is they use Bluetooth. So they're not going to get in the way of anything. Secondly, they require, because Bluetooth is short range, they require, connecting up two other devices to work. So if everything in the airplane is turned off, as far as the electronics, it's not, it can't even talk to anything anyways. And that's one of the reasons why sometimes it doesn't get updated until you land, because everyone turns all their phones off. But the FCC used to say that about using cell phones and on the flight, and now they're like, oh well, we were wrong.
I've seen articles that Europe is doing away with you don't have to put your devices in airline mode anymore, airplane mode. And they're just wondering when we're going to get around to doing the same thing.
But we already have a lot of places, they don't really have that. Just during the takeoff and landing, they say
okay,
away. And the bottom line is the airplane mode is going to turn into fast charging mode, The only reason I use it is if I want to get my phone to charge quicker.
Sure. Yeah.
All those.
And it's because it turns off all the radios.
The radios.
Exactly. So you can charge faster.
I'll try that.
Yep.
I have a question that has to do with airlines. I have the AirPods and they work beautifully when I'm here in the house. I get on a plane and no matter what I do or what setting I put them on, they do not work. So how do I make them work when I'm in the air?
Did you turn your phone and put an airplane mode on?
I put airplane mode and then I made sure the Bluetooth was on and it still does not work.
That's strange.
I know, I agree. I bought them specifically to use on an airplane and they don't work. They do great when I'm walking around the house here, but they do not work up on the airplane. I've tried them on 3 trips now and tried different settings and they just don't work.
Did you try it instead of putting airplane mode on and turning the other things off, just turning all the other non-Bluetooth things off?
Like what?
With like the cellular, turn cellular off and Wi-Fi off and leave Bluetooth on?
No, when I looked it up online, they said I should use the airplane mode and the Bluetooth, and that was all. Now, I don't know. I probably didn't turn everything else off. I'll try it again on another plane.
The airplane mode, what they said should work. The airplane mode turns off all these other things, then you turn the Bluetooth back on. But just thinking that maybe something else is getting turned off that's affecting the AirPods. Because also was it the H1 chip in there? If that's has any bearing on this. But this way
it was very interesting. I also carried with me a pair of earbuds, that connect to the phone. And I figured that's like hardwired in, it should work. That didn't even work either.
Oh.
And and I was trying to listen to music, and when I'm on the ground, it works great. But when I'm in the air, it doesn't work.
Question, is your music on the phone or are you listening to
it's on the phone. It's downloaded to the phone.
Yeah, because I've used mine on planes that I don't have the wireless ones, but the wired ones, that have never had an issue with that.
No, yeah.
I know, I never have either. And that's why I figured I took both in case one didn't work. And it would play a note or two and then it would quit.
That makes me think that there's something not related to the AirPods that's preventing the AirPods.
Yep.
Okay, so it's probably in my phone, but it's a new phone.
Yeah, just because you're not on a plane, you could test out the airplane mode, and see if you have that problem doing that same thing on land.
Okay, I'll put the airplane mode on and try it on land.
Right.
Okay, so I could probably take it out of airplane mode and try it that way on the plane.
Yeah, try. What we want to do is see where the problem is. If on land you turn airplane mode on, turn Bluetooth enabled it, and you have the problem, then it's not being on the plane, it's something else. If the problem, then there's something on the plane that maybe they have a jammer that they're using. I don't.
Well, the conclusive thing for me was the fact that she used a hardwired,
and that didn't work,
and they didn't work either.
Yeah.
So that would seem to say it's in the phone.
But everything works here in the house. Both of them, both things work perfectly when I'm on the ground.
But do they both work perfectly on the ground when airplane mode is on?
I don't know. I never put airplane mode on the ground.
you might want to try. That's the one
Okay.
thing different between being when you're on the plane and
Right.
now.
Okay, I'll try that. Thank you.
So if
You can
all else,
also you can also try a hard reset on your phone just
Yes.
to make sure that there isn't something that's kind of weirded
yeah.
out, and see if
Okay.
that doesn't.
yeah,
But I would
But-
do what George suggests first. Try the airplane mode first at home. If you're getting the same issue, then try a hard reset.
Okay, thank you.
You want to know what's fixed the problem, because if you do the hard reset, we don't know whether
right.
what thing fixed it. So yeah, he's
Yeah.
right.
So,
But,
okay, thank you.
Now that Kevin mentioned that, there's been occasions, I do everything on my iPad. I hardly use this new computer I bought. I do everything on the iPad, and periodically the audio does cut out on videos.
Yeah.
And the only way to get around it, not only the videos, but if I'm playing a game or something, the audio's gone for that too. And I have to do the hard reset. And it's been it happens 2 or 3 times, every couple months. So I'm just used to doing that. As soon as something stops playing or doesn't play, I do that. And it always fixes it 100%.
I will give a suggestion. Learn the hardware button resets, because when I had my accident, the screen stopped responding to touch.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't know the button combination to do the hard reset, you can't shut your phone off.
Siri will do it for you if you got Hey Siri activated.
It was not.
I can show them. Ask again for the iPhone.
I have to swipe the final thing to turn it off, though.
Right. Oh, that's right. Yeah. I forgot it does that.
It
The
got
button
up
shows up.
point where it was
Yeah.
shut. You have to swipe, and it's like
Yeah.
it won't. Yeah. So, and I had to wait till I could get somebody else's device to look up what the were, and so it was like 2 in the morning before I was able to actually call anybody to let them know I was in an accident.
Wow.
Terrible.
George, isn't there a difference between using the swipe to turn it off and an actual using the buttons to do a hard reset?
Well, you can actually within the phone go into general and do reset. That's the same as the hard reset, but you have to be able to touch the screen to do that.
Got it.
I've had to do a hard reset so often nowadays, more so than I used to have to. And I'm chalking it up to HomeKit. HomeKit is so buggy, and I'm hoping they're going to improve that on Tuesday. But it's just, I do it probably twice a week because I have devices that will be responding. Christmas tree lights that came on in the middle of the night and they weren't supposed to, and none of my automations are working presently. They work once, they go through one cycle, and then they stop. They never work again, and it really it's a pain in the neck. And then I do a hard reset, and everything's fine. But I'm optimistic. Apple said they're going to do some things in 16.2 that hopefully will help some of these HomeKit issues.
Did they now use the new version that they totally redesigned the interface on?
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
I'm using 16.1.2, I think. I'm not in the beta program anymore. That was such a hassle with the home automation stuff. I mean, everything else works fine, but the home automation is with you all the time. And my partner, love her to death, has finally gotten where she just talks to stuff. And that's great. I mean, it's so convenient, and it's aggravating when it doesn't work. Wow, that was exciting.
Yeah, home automation. I think we're going to see a lot with that because they're simplifying the whole structure of it to the point where more people are going to be able to get into the home automation and utilizing that.
Yep. You can buy a $20 light bulb now that you can screw into any outlet, any socket. $20 from a Japanese company. They're excellent products, and you can vary the color. It's not a full spectrum change, but there's a lot of different colors you can use to create moods. and you don't need a connection to the wall. In other words, all the connection, Wi-Fi connection is actually in the bulb. Beautiful. Very
Has-
easy to do.
Has anybody been seeing the schizophrenic Siri? Multiple person. I'll be in maps and Siri will give me a direction, and then a different voiced Siri will give me the next direction. I mean, it is totally. I mean, it's still a female voice, but it's like the old Siri voice, the new Siri voice. It's like her old self is battling to get out.
Yeah. I thought, I didn't know if it was my imagination, but I thought that that my new Siri voice was different.
Yeah.
It-
Yeah, it's
the old one.
yeah, the old kind of more robotic one.
Yeah.
Early on, periodically is coming in and give me directions. I'm like, is she trying to tell me the wrong thing, mess up my relationship with new Siri? The ex-girlfriend versus the new one.
I still have an awful lot of trouble with dictation, voice dictation, no matter if I'm doing an iMessage or if I'm doing a Google search. They have a little microphone for the Google field. I don't know. Maybe I have a speech impediment or something, or my accent, but I have a very hard time
I think
getting
it's
it
the
to be
chewing
right.
tobacco. I think it's the chewing tobacco, man.
Could be. Yeah.
Yeah.
That and snorting cocaine while I'm doing it, I can't figure out what's wrong.
Well, you should be able to get her to get rid of that white noise.
Get rid of the what?
Okay. Yeah, I still wish they had an option to use the microphone on the phone for Bluetooth conversations, because the microphones in virtually every vehicle I've ever been in suck.
Yeah.
People like have trouble hearing. I'm in the car using this phone on speaker because people can't hear Bluetooth. It's like, that's just wrong. So anybody else have some gifts that they're either looking for themselves or looking to get for other people?
Yeah, let me jump in here with one. I've got one, and it's not a thing, because we all have too much stuff. I'd like to. I was telling my wife this morning I'd buy for her 1 hour of an Apple text time to get rid of the little annoyances and the idiosyncrasies that she deals with on her phone. And while he or she was there, they would do the same thing with my computer. I've got issues with printing to PDF. I got the continuity camera that doesn't seem to want to work, that kind of thing. So I would like to buy an experience of 1 hour. I don't know whether they're available or not, but that would be the greatest gift somebody could give me. My wife could give me, or I could give to her.
That's a good idea.
I said, well, good. I don't know. Somebody gave my girlfriend an hour to get rid of her annoyances on the phone. I think she'd have to get rid of me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's. Most people know that's what I do for a living. I used to do that all the time, give gifts to people, or sell in sort of like school auction thingies, and just do an hour of time. So yeah, you can get that from pretty much anybody who does that kind of work.
Well, you do it, right?
Yeah, I do.
We keep that in mind. Thank you.
I hesitate to really talk up that outside because I don't want people to think that that's why I do this. I do this because I love doing this.
And we appreciate
Absolutely.
all of it.
We do.
We do.
So,
Well, I'll jump in here with it's not another Apple thing, but I over the Cyber Monday sale, I bought a vest, a heated vest with a little tiny heat generator and graphite panels in the front and in the back and in the collar. And it's a little lightweight nylon vest with a lithium battery in one of the pockets that's you obviously can recharge and plug in and take out. And it is beautiful. I mean, you go out of the house and, you know, when I'm riding the bike at 20 miles an hour, it's pretty cold at 50 degrees. So anyway, that's why I got it. It's got three different heat levels, and she's gone now, so I'll say this out loud. But I bought Pam one of those. She didn't want a puffer vest. She didn't want. She said she wanted something that was trim and fleece like, and I found one that's that way, and it's got the heater elements in it, and it's just such a. You know, we went to get a Christmas tree the other night, and the temperature dropped like crazy. And I just tapped on my little button on my chest, and the thing got ramped up another 20 degrees. It was great. Anyway, they're not that expensive. I got this for
David.
It's a heated action vest or heated sports vest. And I got it on Amazon, and it was $149 or something. And it was 179, but then they discounted it like crazy, which got my attention, 35%. So anyway.
Yeah, Best Buy had taken $300 off the iPad Pro. That's why I got it. And Amazon didn't have a price to match. So
David, I'm sitting here looking at them right now, and you're right, 139, 139, 109.
Yep.
It looks like the good ones are probably about between $125 and $150.
Right.
can you put that link in?
Look. Go to Amazon.
It was too good to pass up.
Oh, you guys.
Oh, you're quick, Matt.
When we're done with the gift ideas, I have a couple of points that I would like to bring up, but I don't want to interrupt the gift listing here. But I don't.
I have one. I have one thing that isn't necessarily a gift, but I noticed. I think it was yesterday or the day before, and I just posted it in the chat. I don't know if it's still working or not. But if you don't have Apple TV, you know, the subscription, you can get 2 months free. They're doing a promotion for Will Smith's new Emancipation movie that launched yesterday. So you can get 2 months free of Apple TV to be able to catch, you know, that and other things that they've come out with recently.
Well, that's just based on Disney. Sorry, I couldn't resist.
You know, when I got the iPad Pro, I got 3 of those. I got one for Apple Music. I got one for the fitness app, I think. And another one. I'm still using the freebies from the last time I used something. They give away those 3-month things pretty judiciously. And
I got that with my new iPhone, but it wouldn't work because I already used it with another device that I had previous to that. But
mine are just going to expire, and I'll see what happens.
Yeah, so if this one is still good, this allowed me to do it, even though I've had a previous trial subscription and canceled that subscription. So, so you could try this link that I posted and see if that doesn't work, and even for people who have already done trial ones before.
Margaret, you said you had some things you wanted to mention?
Well, not related to gift ideas. I wanted to mention on the spam front, I signed into my hospitalization site the other day, and I clicked it off thinking I was done. And I went back because I wanted to check something else, and to my surprise, I was still signed in. Normally, if I'm on a website like a bank account, I make sure I sign off when I click off. But most websites will turn you off once you click the site off. And I was surprised that this happens to be a Blue Cross Blue Shield. I was still on that site and it hadn't cut me off. And I think from a spam perspective, it's important for all of us to know that click off or sign out and before you come off a website that you wouldn't like to have phished. The other thing I wanted to mention in Matt, I think, mentioned at dictation. I had a surprise. I listened to German TV and they're speaking very fast and I've been out of it for a long time. So I sit there with my iPad and I translate certain words, new words that they have, or words that I just can't figure out. I must have pushed a button somewhere. They don't have closed captioning. Otherwise I wouldn't have the problem. So whatever I pushed, and I haven't found it again, it started to translate what was being said on television, and I ended up with a 2-page translation, and it was pretty accurate. And I thought that was fascinating because I never knew it would do that. Again, I don't remember how I did it, but it can be, and it was on an iPad, and it translated as they were speaking. I could not believe that it did that.
Well,
A third thing I wanted to ask George or anybody else who feels qualified, does the Apple announcement, the recent Apple announcement, improving end-to-end encryption on their iCloud have any impact on any of us?
Yeah, it'll impact all of us.
Yeah.
This will just give you more end-to-end encryption on different services that weren't encrypted before. So it's going to impact us all, and you won't notice a difference, but it'll be, just give you more privacy.
Yeah.
It's what is it? It's in the background. It will impact everybody, but nobody will really know that it's impacting them, because what it's going to do is it's going to reduce or eliminate the ability for people to listen in on your and your conversation or your file transfer. Everything. It's going to be to the point where only each end of the conversation is the only one that has any access to the information. Anybody who sees the information in transit, it's going to be gobbledygook. So it's just basically for our protection.
It's going to be stored encrypted.
Yeah.
That's the big deal.
Oh,
It's going to be stored
That's a
encrypted.
big deal. That's right.
always had, they did that a while back.
But not all of it, not with everything, just some things. Now they're expanding it.
And what that also does is it actually helps them as well, because now if somebody comes in with a subpoena and says,
Right.
"Hey, your servers, here, sure, go ahead. We can't decrypt any of this stuff for you."
That's right.
But there it is, and they get encrypted garbage data that they can't do anything with. And Apple doesn't fight in court because they said they're giving them access, but it doesn't help them because it's all encrypted.
Yep. All the 3-letter federal agencies are very upset about this.
Absolutely. Yep.
But it's good. It's good. It's good for the Apple. It's good for us.
Yeah.
Here's the thing: the government says, well, this potential terrorist that they have, but the problem is we have a country that is built upon the protection of the innocent first.
Right.
And you have 1,000 people, and there's one person who's something bad, but 99 are getting their information looked at. That's just not right. So yeah, what they did is they don't have to fight with court. They don't have to pay legal fees or the time or the frustration. They just sit back and
Thank you.
can't do anything. It's a smart decision, both business-wise and personal privacy.
I have a tech tip. I have been a Verizon customer since the mid-90s when I was living in Atlanta, and found that it was the most reliable connection I have in the area up here. But recently I decided to investigate consumer cellular, and I'm so happy that I did. I got replaced my accounts. I was paying $150 a month for service with Verizon for 2 lines and 4 lines actually, 2 for iPhones and 2 for watches. And now my bill is going to be less than $70 a month for the same level of service, except, and 5 gigs of data, which is, I don't ever use my cellular phone for downloading a lot of data. So I'm saving about $100 a month, close to $100 a month. And I use it all. We drove down to the coast right after we got it, went down I-26 through Columbia, and then on 95 up the East Coast we could go to Wilmington. Never lost a signal. They used AT&T towers. I originally thought it was Verizon's towers, but apparently they pay AT&T for piggybacking on their bandwidth, and I'm finding it very satisfactory. Good people to deal with, very quick response, and simple, and saving money. I mean, I'd encourage people to look into it.
Does it work in Europe?
I'm sorry?
Does it work in Europe?
I don't know,
Yeah.
Marguerite.
Worldwide work, so my guess is it probably does.
You think it does?
Okay, because of AT&T, I would assume.
AT&T, if you're looking worldwide, AT&T is the best worldwide network.
Okay.
Verizon edges them out in the United States. Worldwide, AT&T is the one.
Okay, 'cause I've used Verizon. I have used Verizon also forever because I got the best reception locally with them. And they're fine when you go overseas or out of the US anywhere. So I would like to make sure that the consumer also was good for that.
As I said, they're very helpful people. They're straight up. I've had some pretty bad experiences with helping people deal with Verizon, but these guys they got a very simple program. They're making money, obviously. And anyway, check it out.
I'd like to support everything that David has said about this company. I had them back when I traveled with a motorhome all over the country, and they work beautifully. I have been trying to get consumer cellular, and they tell me that they cannot yet support the Apple Watch. And I'm waiting for them to support the Apple Watch before I switch over from my Verizon account.
I was told they were going to announce that capability in December, number one, and whether they will or not, I don't know. But secondly, the capability they don't have is for the Apple Watch to receive a call directly without an iPhone being near. In other words, you can use your Apple Watch if your iPhone is in your purse, in your pocket, or wherever, just somewhere within 30 feet of the watch, because that's a Bluetooth link. But what Verizon was offering me, and I was paying $17 a month per watch, was the ability. They assigned a number, and people could call that number, or they could automatically transfer to that number, and come directly on my watch, whether I had my phone with me or not. So that's the only thing I'm giving up, and right now that's not a big deal. I hope they will fix that in the future, so I don't have to carry the phone with me all the time. But that's the change, Marguerite. And for me, it was not that painful.
They did not explain to me that the watch would work. They said they simply could not support the watch at all at this point. I wouldn't care to get a direct call on. I don't ever use that second number anyway.
Go for it. Go. I didn't either. So I was surprised that they didn't have it, but at the same time, the guy took the time to explain it to me, and it works. I mean, I used my watch, but I had the phone in the car or in my pocket or someplace close by.
Okay, thank you.
Which Opal, and they're actually not bad. I was having the same areas a dropout with Verizon that I have with this in some of the mountainous areas, but overall it's been pretty good connection. Their pricing is great. I spent $250 in a year at gigs, so it's pretty.
Is it 5G capable?
It is 5G capable, yeah, and it's a eSIM, which is nice. Especially because you can basically do it right online. You don't have to wait for SIM to come to you. Do it immediately. That also leaves the SIM card slot available. So if you do go somewhere, I don't know what their coverage is outside the United States. They use T-Mobile as their carrier, but if you go outside the United States, you can pick up a local SIM wherever you are, dirt cheap, and the rates in the foreign countries are a fraction what they are here. You pop it in and still have your regular line and the foreign car line at the same time.
Is it as good a coverage as Verizon?
It is not. T-Mobile has good coverage, but it's not as good. But what I found is that I'm getting the same. There were certain areas with Verizon that it would drop out if I'm driving, in the mountainous areas, and those same areas I'm getting outs with T-Mobile. So it's pretty close. This area is pretty close to being the same.
What's the difference in the service and coverage between T-Mobile and Consumer Cellular?
Well, Consumer Cellular is using AT&T, so my guess is that there's, from what I've garnered from all the propaganda that the cellular companies put out, and then the articles I've read, Verizon has the best network within the continental United States. AT&T would be next, and then T-Mobile would be third. But all have pretty darn good coverage. What you'll find is there's going to be certain areas that aren't covered as well. A lot of times it's in between the cities where you'll start losing things. I noticed when I looked at the map for Verizon, they have the cellular towers right up I-75, which is how I get to Ohio. So from I have good coverage all the way up there. And I think most of them are going to hit the bigger cities. So it all depends on where you go.
So does Consumer Cellular use T-Mobile resources?
Consumer Cellular used AT&T.
AT&T.
Mobile used T-Mobile.
So does AT&T have 5G available in this local area?
That I couldn't say.
I don't know, Matt. I don't know whether they do or Bob. I don't know if they do or not.
There's two aspects to that. One is, do they have it available? Two, does your phone support it? Depends on what version of the phone you.
Right.
And
Bob,
then
I think they do. I switched to AT&T from Verizon when I got the iPhone 12. And I think the reason was that they had just put up some towers around here that made the coverage much better. I'm pretty sure it's 5G.
Yeah. The thing that you also run into, though, is that if you've had the service for a while, you may need to go in and get a new SIM card because the SIM card may not be 5G.
I don't know whether my phone, it's an iPhone 12 Pro. Does it have a SIM card, or is it one of those eSIMs or whatever they call it?
It has a SIM card.
It's got a SIM card. Yeah.
But it also supports the eSIM.
Yes.
How do you change from a SIM card to an eSIM?
They sent me, in the case of Consumer Cellular, they sent me overnight at no cost a new SIM card configured for them, and I took the old one out and that was hooked to Verizon, and I said put that one in, and I did everything online and was up and running in 15 minutes. Now, and I don't think they carry 5G. In other words, AT&T may have the 5G network running. I don't know for sure. I've just looked at my app and it doesn't show any option to upgrade to 5G. So whatever, if you need 5G, you may want to stick with pure AT&T.
Right.
And
Consumer Cellular does support 5G. I just bought my mom an iPhone SE 3rd generation, and it supports the 5G on Consumer Cellular. She has
Great.
Consumer Cellular.
Great, Kevin. Thank you.
There was a lot of talk about when the 5G was first starting to penetrate the market, about human beings walking around being enveloped in the electromagnetic spectrum field of 5G and being detrimental to your health. Anybody heard anything about that recently?
I
I
have,
think what I know about it was that it had to do with the higher speed version of 5G that they're using in metropolitan areas where they have the antennas located on buildings. And it's designed to handle up to gigabit transfer speeds, but it does it at, I won't say eye level, but it isn't like having a tower that's broadcast the same way. It's line of sight communication between these relay devices and terminals. So, but it's very, very high frequency radiation of the signal. And I guess I never heard those stories about it being hurtful to humans. I mean, I suspect somebody would think so, just like they said having a phone was going to rot your brain. You hold it up.
Well, I know it's rotted my brain.
theater.
Huh.
Yep. The big thing with a 5G was the fact that not only was it line of sight, but it couldn't penetrate a lot of material. So, for example, if you go inside a building, you would lose the 5G. So a lot of times they would have to have transmitters inside the buildings as well. So just the sheer volume of transmitters of antennas was going to be tremendous because of short range and that was a big concern for a lot of people. But just like everything new, the microwave oven was supposed to kill us. The phones were supposed to kill. The car was supposed to kill. That one it kind of does.
Well, there ain't nothing. Ain't nobody going to get out of here alive. So.
Oh, Bob.
I have a photos syncing question if we're up to question time.
Sure.
So I have a issue where I'm helping somebody with their they got a new laptop, and on their new laptop it got to the point where all their photos were uploaded except like 2 photos, and for days it said uploading 2 photos, and I cleaned up their old MacBook Pro, and I've got the same issue where for days now it's been stuck with uploading 2 photos. I've tried everything from turning it off, turning photos off in iCloud and then returning it back on. I've tried shutting down and restarting to see if I can get a new connection. I've tried some terminal commands where I've basically cleared the DNS cache, and nothing seems to work. I've got the same 2 or 3 images that are not syncing.
My guess is that there's probably a file corruption in one or all of those.
Yeah.
What I would do is, if you haven't tried already, try duplicating the images and then delete the originals.
I don't know which images aren't getting uploaded. How would I identify which ones?
Well, if you log in, you should be able to see which ones.
Log into what?
If you log into iCloud.com and check the photos, you should be able to see. My guess is it's going to be the last ones loaded, so it should be the beginning or the end of the list. Find out which one.
You think at the end of the list or the beginning of the list?
It's going to be probably the beginning or the end of the chronologically, because it usually
okay.
Wait, it's not like it's gonna, if it's running in a file corruption, that usually stops it dead right there. It doesn't continue on. It just basically stops it until it keeps trying. So I would think that it's probably going to be either the first couple or the last couple in the list.
Okay. I'll check that and see if that makes it, I didn't know how to identify which ones they were, because my suggestion would have been just delete those images, or like you said, make a duplicate and see if and delete the originals and see if that does it. But I didn't know how to identify which images weren't getting uploaded.
How many images do they have? Do you know?
7,500. So not a huge amount, but enough to, to try to go through 7,500 images to see which ones aren't matching.
Actually, if you do want to try to do that, if it isn't the first, beginning ones or the end one, if you look at the overview, where they have like the montage of all the images, don't get too far. Just basically get as far as you should be able to see a difference between the two montages where the kind of the edges are going to go like this as they, you should see a little bit of difference of the coloration and such. All of a sudden it'll be different. That shift should give you an indication.
You mean, so like changing it from all photos to like months or years or something? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. And what you should see is a little bit, just a little change as in the coloration, because all of a sudden one's going to be missing and everything's going to shift over a little bit.
Right. Yeah. I think that in the new photos, they don't show them when I'm clicking on photos and I put it into year view, it just shows one thumbnail with the year in the corner saying 2014 or 2015.
But if you open up that, it should show the whole year. And if you take the slider and make it smaller so you can see more of them at once.
Okay.
That
I'll play around with that, see if I can figure it out.
So does it appear as a film strip, and you're suggesting that there'll be a blank space where
you're looking at both of them at the same time. If missing, all of a sudden these are going to be shifted over a little bit. So you're going to see a little difference where it's going to the coloration of the one that is on the next row is going to be at the end of this first row, and all of a sudden it's going to be a shift in the kind of the color schemes as you look at the row pictures.
Oh, okay. I've never seen that.
Yeah, you have to be able to compare. You should see just as you go, like match. Also, it doesn't match anymore. That'll give you an idea of where that one picture is missing.
Yeah, I can't seem to get that view. I mean, I remember that view, but no matter what I do,
well, keep in
it
mind
just gives me like a sampling.
There should be. I think it's.
So,
do they have on the new one? Do they have all photos and photos still, or just the one?
No, they have. Well, they have. You have an option of years, months, days, and all photos.
Do all photos.
And if you click all photos, okay, then
and then use
then use what?
Use the little slider for the size of the image.
Oh, got it. I see what you're saying. Yeah, yeah, that would be hard because it doesn't. It used to group them with white space in between so that you could actually see, and now it makes the thumbnail small, but it makes them all,
right.
I don't think there'd be a way that I could identify.
If you look at that on the Photos app and on the cloud, like split screen, and at the same thumbnail as you go down, all of a sudden you see that the colors it doesn't match up like it did initially.
I got it. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's not simple, but easier than looking one photo at a time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at it and I see one image that's like this pink, pink blob because I've got them small. If that pink blob isn't in the same place you're saying on iCloud when I'm doing a split screen, then I can know that it's before that section.
Exactly.
And then I can kind of try to narrow it down. Got it. Okay.
And then at that point, maybe make it a little bit bigger. And so then you can see even more of a discrepancy.
Got it. Understand. And do you think on iCloud you have that same ability to view them that way?
I believe you do, yeah.
Okay. Because I don't use iCloud for looking at my photos that frequently. So yeah. Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, the only time I usually use the iCloud for that is when I have a syncing issue. Because I want to see what is and isn't there. But it's also very useful if you want to show pictures to somebody in your, down at your computer. You log in and have access to them.
Yeah.
All right. Anybody else have any other questions?
Yes, I do. just the other day, I was trying to send, someone had sent me an email and I wanted to send it on to someone else. It had photos in it as well as words. When I sent it on, the photos do not come in to the person that I sent it to. And we've tried it 2 or 3 times and it still is not working. And what did I do, Marguerite?
I was the one who was getting the blank photos, and if you remember, I had this problem 1 or 2 TMUG meetings ago, and Kevin gave me a setting in the mail app that had to do, and I don't know it right this minute, but it had to do with forwarding attachments, and I gave her that same link, and she said that was already set on her machine. So what repaired my problem did not repair her problem. And that's her question now.
Now, were these?
I
Okay, go
had
ahead.
one attachment was clicked and I didn't have the second one, so I clicked the second one, resent it, and it still did not go through.
Were these actual attachments or were these links to external images?
I don't have any idea. It was just,
you know how those lists come through of series of photographs with text in between them. So we don't know whether they're attachments. I mean, the computer opens them up as you receive them. And that's what she was trying to forward to me.
Are you using Comporium as your mail server or Gmail?
Gmail.
Okay. I've never had that problem. Marguerite sends those out frequently.
I
And I've
never
never-
have either.
I've
I
never
send
had it,
stuff,
no.
I send stuff to Marguerite and to other people all the time, and I've never had that happen where the pictures would not open up.
Well, you know, I think the key is, are they attachments or are they embedded in the message? If they're embedded, sometimes they're not even, there's no link there. There's just the image, but it's not shown in the email as an attachment. And Apple Mail automatically, well, it does for me, asks, do you want to add the attachments to this message you're forwarding? And of course, I check yes.
I've gotten that message before, but it was not on this particular, and I've sent 2 different ones, Marguerite, and neither one of them.
She said
That tells me that they were not included as attachments. They were embedded in whatever it is you're trying to forward. The text and the thing were embedded as part of a single web image. And so or web screen. And so that's why it's not forwarding, because the image is not there. The image is somewhere else.
I had a little bit of experience with that. I had to save the pictures first, and
There
then
you go.
they would go.
Right.
Okay, I've never had to do that before with things that people have sent me. So this was like an article that the person had read. They sent me the article. It had the pictures there as they should be in between all the printing. And I just sent it out and it did not continue to Marguerite.
Can you do me a favor? If there's nothing, private in there, can you send that email to me?
Okay, I don't know if I have your email address, but
gwagner.
Wait. What?
I'll give it to you, Sue. I'll give it to you.
Okay. All right.
Now, that being said, a workaround until we figure out what's going on here. If you take that email and do the print option and then use the PDF, it should mail a PDF version with all the
Right. Right.
It's not an elegant solution, but it should at least get you figure out what's causing the issue.
There's also a setting. There's also a setting in if you go to Mail and go to Settings. I don't know if this is if this will make a difference or not, but it's certainly worth trying. If you go to Settings and then tap on Composing, down near the bottom it says Responding, and then on mine it says use the same message format as the original message. So respond using rich or plain text depending on what came in. If you check that box, mine's not checked, but if you check that box, that may make it so that whatever they're using, whatever formatting gets gets sent along with, you know,
Okay.
with the original message.
right.
Also, article that was sent to you, it should have included the link to the actual article as well. You could click on the link and then the article that way from Safari, which would basically send them got basically the full article and such.
Yeah, it was a very long article.
Well, these companies, these magazines that publish articles like that, they're trying to protect intellectual property. So they put the
Yeah.
thing together, they position the images exactly where they need to be. And that's a work product. And they want to protect that work product, so they don't want you to be able to take it and move it around without them knowing. So what they're trying to do is encourage you to do what George said, go to their website if you want to move it on.
Yeah, I don't know, these people have sent me other articles like this. I mean, it's obviously something that was sent to them. They sent it to me, you know.
Well, but you're not doing anything wrong. I don't think that's what we're saying. You're doing.
No, I know, I realize that.
Yeah, it's just the product that you're trying to forward.
Yeah.
Now,
Okay, well, I'll try sending it to George once I get the thing, and we'll see what happens, you know.
What I'm looking at is what comes here, and look at it and see how the information is being sent to me, which would tell me whether it was an attachment versus embedded versus a remote.
Okay.
For more insight. On a related note, but separate, when you have an article you want to send somebody, if you're not already using the reader mode, use the reader mode and then share it. Because the reader, it's more readable. It strips out all the advertising, so they get a much cleaner image, much cleaner article, much easier to read.
You're talking about sending something from a website, George. What Sue was trying to forward to me was an email that had a list from someone else. It wasn't a website.
Okay, that's
a list of photos with text in between.
Yeah, I understand that. I said that's why I said on a related note. I mean, because we were talking about articles and such, and we just talked about that. I was just bringing that up, totally unrelated to her issue, but kind of related to sending these. I understand that wasn't her problem. I didn't mean to imply that.
Where would you find the reader's mode?
If you're in Safari, you see the little double A at the top there. They've changed the icon a little bit, but you'll either see the double A or the down here. So
in Safari on newer operating systems, when you go to the where the web address is, on the far right side, there's what looks like a little document with some writing on it, and if you click on that or you hover over it, it says show reader view. So it basically strips out, as George was saying, all those ads and gives you just sort of the article with images in it. And from there, I often do that if I want to save something, because then I can strip out all those things and I can save it as a PDF file for referencing later on. So
yeah, see the show. I know the newer icon's a little different, but you have the little reader view here. When you click on it, you get rid of all those advertising, just get the article in question. And it's so much cleaner. You can adjust the size of the fonts for the text in there. And then when you send it to somebody, they will get this clean view and link, which is much nicer to get an email than the page with all the ads on it.
I think I discovered something the other day that drove me up the wall. I was trying to Google something, and the answer I got is what Kevin just gave. Go to mail, go to settings. Well, I didn't have a settings. The older operating systems
preferences.
And I didn't know that. I was all over the place looking for settings, and I know Sue is not running Ventura, nor am I. And so if you're looking for settings, Sue, it's mail preferences.
Okay.
My apologies for that. I'm getting used to it being more like, now it's not called system preferences, it's called system settings on Ventura. So it's getting closer to the iOS, terminology. So
we're just old-fashioned, that's all.
Harder.
For George, I'm waiting for the first update on Ventura to download it.
Me too.
Me 3.
Well, you could already
Well,
have
they've already
13.0.1, and is that not the first update?
That's in beta, I think.
no.
It's not?
It's no, the 13.0.1 is not beta. So so they had 13.0 and there were some bugs with that, and the 13.0.1, which is what I'm currently running, I've not had any issues with it. I can't imagine that somebody would have any issues upgrading or upgrading at this point. So
And
Is
I
it-
agree with you.
That
I'm
reason why-
having absolutely no issues with it. It's running just fine.
That's exactly, I say wait to the 0.01s because they found some bugs on the initial release and they fixed them. So, yeah, so you should be good to go if you want to go to Ventura.
Okay.
I'll do it.
And I'm not waiting for the update in the software. I'm waiting for the update in my hardware.
Right.
yeah, you may be waiting a while if you're waiting for Apple to update your hardware.
No, I'm update my hardware.
We're going to update. Yes, we are.
Hey, George, I certainly am glad you took down that picture of gifts that you had up there, because so far during this meeting, I've spent almost $200 on Amazon based on that. It's crazy.
It's called addiction.
Can. You're out of control.
Ah!
He
I think
sees it, he buys it.
Let's go here now. Now you can spend some money on Apple's website.
Oh, Lord.
I think Ken should get the award of the greatest enthusiasm in this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Biggest wall.
Look at that holiday spirit of his. Woo, woo.
You know, Ken, you could buy those things for us.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do reviews, product reviews.
Oh,
Any other
New Year's resolution, be nicer to Ken next year.
Thank you.
we have we need to be we've got most of the steering committee here. Do we want to talk? Want to have a meeting?
Yeah, fine with me.
I'd like to, can I make a suggestion?
Yes.
I think for a future meeting, going into, I recently, let me start back here. 1Password is a password manager that I use. And recently they sent out a newsletter, and in that newsletter, they had a test demo site where you could try out passkeys. And they are so much nicer than passwords. The reason 1Password, or what they're pushing, is the ability to be able to share passkeys, which based on the way that Apple and Google and all the others are doing it, if you're within their ecosystem, that's fine, or within your own devices, that's fine. But sharing it, if you needed to share a password with somebody, if they needed access, let's say it was a club account, for example, and you needed to share it with another member, then 1Password is working to be able to make those shareable and things like that. Anyway, I just thought that the passkeys, doing something that really kind of demonstrated the difference between passwords and passkeys might be something that's interesting, where that's sort of where things are heading. I know that a few sites I've changed over already, like Best Buy. You can do passkeys now on Best Buy. So if you have the iOS 16 and Ventura, then you can be using passkeys instead of passwords.
On a note, I did hear, I think it was last, did have a security
Yeah.
breach. So be aware if you
That's a big deal.
On which one?
Last
1Password? Oh, LastPass. Yes. Yeah, I heard that. Yeah.
But since Since Kevin, since you brought this up, do you want to do a thing on the?
I can work on that, and when I get to a point where I think it's presentable, I'll give you a heads up so you can schedule it in.
Appreciate that.
How's that sound? Okay.
Great, Kevin.
Thank you.
All right, so let me stop the recording.
And you're going to do a steering committee